Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Skills podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people.
I know that's right.
Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast, episode 10, sponsored by the Closet Experience Boutique and Delightful Cakes and Catering. I'm your host, Kiana Skills, and I have the lovely Aquanette Cooper with me today, co-hosting. Today, we will be discussing the facade, y'all. Being confronted with who we are is often uncomfortable. It means holding ourselves accountable, admitting to all our flaws, including weaknesses. Sometimes it seems easy to just ignore anything potentially negative about ourselves. You spend more time with yourself than anyone else. But how well do you know yourself? Ooh, do you really know yourself? Better yet, are you willing to remove the veil from your face to expose the truths that you have been masquerading behind? Hello, Aquanette. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Good. I'm glad you were joining me today, co-hosting again. Hey, girl, let's jump right into this episode and see if we can help the listeners to remove the veil.
Yes, remove it, child.
Yes, I know I need something lifted off me, but okay, we're going to see if we can help the people and help ourselves. You know what? When it comes to living with facades, I tend to believe that we are less self-aware than we think we are. Mm-hmm. I believe this because I say we tend to shy away from the areas of our lives that make us the most uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to reflect on the things that are bothering us or from removing those strongholds that are preventing us from living, let's say, in our truths or from being our authentic selves.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's easy to hide behind the veil because it shields us from being exposed and we get to pretend that life is all good, you know, even when it's not for us. Now, do you agree or not agree with that statement?
I absolutely agree. And the thing about the veil is that it's hard for us to understand what our true reality is. And my reality may be completely different than your reality.
Yeah. That, you know, that's a truth right there because we all see things different. We all come from different walks of life. That really has something to do with our perspectives on things and how we look at ourselves as well. And there's really nothing wrong with that. I will say this, that I believe that a start to releasing the veil is to do some self-reflection. And what I mean by that is you need to set aside a time to evaluate your thoughts, attitudes, your motivation, and your desires. Like basically you want to take like let's see what we call this, a self examination of your emotions, your behaviors, and ask yourself, maybe why do you act or feel a certain way? You know, sometimes we just don't do that. I believe that self-reflection builds self-awareness as it allows you to gain a true depiction of your life as it gives you a perspective on the direction you are headed. So do you ever evaluate your life to see where you're headed, or have you had any instances in your life where you had to say, ooh, let me put the spotlight on myself? And how did, you know?
So, yeah, there have been many moments in my journey that I have had to do some self-reflecting. I actually call it a self-assessment.
Okay.
Sometimes we have to actually approach things in a business manner. And that's some things that I've learned over the years because especially as women, we can be very emotionally connected to a situation that has happened to us, no matter what the situation is. So definitely for me, there's been many instances, but one I would like to reflect on, I guess when you say a moment in time where I actually realized it was the veil that was being lifted was when my mom passed away. So I was 17, a senior in high school, and she had been sick for some years. And unfortunately, when she passed away, it hurt the entire family so bad that I feel like we just could never really get back on track. And we all have those family members that are the glue to the family. And I truly believe that my mother was one of many that were the glue in the family. But it was the way that she passed. And even though she was sick, it's always devastating when it actually happens. So the family itself never really got therapy for it. We didn't even get therapy for it. And I feel like that's something that is actually the start to healing, not just from the situation, but just healing yourself altogether. So the things that changed were, of course, holidays were different. You know, there were also instances where celebrations just didn't happen anymore. So all these things were changing around us, but nobody's acknowledging the change. So we just keep going. We just keep going.
Nothing ever happened.
Like nothing ever happened. Like you just function. And I feel like that's something, unfortunately, in our culture that we do struggle with, because, well, you got to be strong. Well, maybe I don't want to be strong.
Right.
Maybe I want to address this pain that I'm going through so I can really enjoy my life and not feel guilty that I'm still here and she's not, or just in general, just to feel good, just to be happy, just to know that there is more to live for. Because for some people, not everyone, but for some people, your mother is the person who you kind of live for.
Right.
Because you know the sacrifices that she's made to make sure you're where you're at in your life. So with me losing her at such a young age, I didn't even know what was ahead of me in life. I didn't know I was going to have a child 2 years later. I didn't know that I was going to be a single parent for all of my daughter's life. Those are things that I wish I had her there for. So over the years, it wasn't just the veil was removed for me to see, okay, this is my reality, but the veil was removed to just see like, oh, this is truly my reality. Nobody else is really affected by this the way I'm affected by it. So that self-awareness has helped me to understand that there are other people that also go through traumatic experiences, and it molds your mind on how you receive information from other people and also how you project on other people as well. So it can be multifaceted. The one that I do want to just focus on is definitely just understanding where I'm at in life and understanding also that this is my reality. It doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Right.
Some things may not have worked out the way I thought they were supposed to, but I'm definitely in a better place now because of the self-reflecting than I was last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Just because I decided to take those steps and get my own type of therapy. You know, we can definitely go to church. We can definitely, you know, have people minister to us, but we have to do both.
Right.
Because we can have the faith, but we have to work and live and walk in that faith, because we all know faith without works is dead. That means that you can keep talking about it all you want to, but until you start putting in that effort and believing that your happiness matters, you're going to always be stuck. So that's basically where I'm at this point in my life. And I'm also just, you know, observing, because there are people who are unaware. You know, when you grow, you can see and you can discern when other people are going through things. And that's the other part of the veil as well. Once you grow and you see that this is my reality, you can actually handle other people's unhappiness. You can handle like, well, you know what? They're not in a good headspace right now. Have you ever been around somebody and just said, you know what? They're hurting.
Right.
So that's the other side of the veil as well. So I know I can talk a long time.
No, you good.
But those are things that I think are very important.
Yes, and I was going to also say, when you were talking about removing that veil, and you were saying that you're not in the same place where you used to be. But what happens when people tend to say you've changed? When you lifted that veil, did anybody ever say you acting different? Did you ever get that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how did you handle it?
So at first I didn't handle it. The first thing I actually felt was offended. Like, well, how could you say that I'm different? Like, I haven't changed. I'm not doing anything differently. But actually you have. And really you've just grown to a different spot in your life where they haven't reached yet. So I had to understand it's impossible for people to know what I've been through if they haven't experienced it.
Right.
So that point, it took some time, but at that point I was able to be like, you know what? They haven't lost their mom. So I can't expect them to not just sympathize, but empathize with the feelings that I have and my new perspective because of that. And that was something that was difficult, but it really took a lot of practice. And again, if anybody knows me and they've known me for very long, they know that I'm an intentional person. And I am very self-reflective. I'm one of those people, like, I don't need to sit by myself too long because I'll really just be like, okay, it's a lot going on up here. I need to fix some things. But, you know, it's just very important for us to make sure that we do that self-reflecting, because you're able to handle other people when they're not in the same space that you're in.
And I totally agree with that. But I also want to say that I'm kind of on the other side of that. I hadn't completely released some of the veils. Because, you know, you can have more than one veil.
Oh, absolutely.
You can have multiple veils, baby. So
Layers.
I'm going to speak to the side of still having a veil.
Yeah, the layers.
Because I'm still dealing with living behind the veil, as I tend to be the strong person or the strong one and don't like to deal with my emotions. I'm often afraid to cry on someone's shoulder because I don't want to feel like I'm a burden
or
to
weak.
Somebody else or weak. Yes, most definitely.
I was that way.
And all the while I'm just masquerading behind the phrase I'm well or I'm good, even when I'm not. And so, you know, I learned to do that. Well, girl, I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah, life great. You know, I've learned to pretend. So that's that facade, that veil that's still on. I've had to come to terms with that I'm still dealing with some grief that I have not yet processed. Although it's been about 4 years since my nephew had passed away. And the reality of being a caregiver to, I have a sick aunt and uncle that's like my mom and dad. So right now, everything has just been weighing on me heavy. And I'm all over the place with a bottle of emotions. But if you ever ask me how I'm doing, like I got dressed and I think I look cute today.
Oh, you look fabulous.
And baby, you will never know what I'm going through because I don't really share it. And I just thought that I would share a little bit. I'm not really ready to talk about everything because I'm just not ready to accept those realities. But that veil is really weighing heavy on myself. And I'm trying not to get so emotional, y'all, but I found myself just trying to keep busy working multiple jobs and networking at different events to avoid the reality of you know, my reality. And just so I can escape from the pain that is just keep nagging at me, but I just keep ignoring it. I know one day I will have to face the veil because it keeps trying to blow off my face like a strong storm that's wreaking havoc. But somehow, y'all, I'm like Ali in this thing, baby. I know how to, what did he do? Bob and weave. I just know how to, you know, some kind of way find a safe space for that veil. And I know you're probably like, how's a safe space for the veil? But that's my reality. What I mean by that, what I'm meaning is that I found a place to keep it on me. I don't look at it as a negative because I don't want to deal with it. So I just find myself
you stay
telling
busy.
that storm to, you know, stay away.
You tell it not
I'm
yet.
successful at unmasking that part of my veil so nobody ever knows it. It's just like, you know, you just never know.
And this is true. This is one of the things I feel like many of us struggle with because there's a fear of facing that reality. But if we actually just take on the fear and just say, you know what, I'm ready. It's no different than when we get ready to join the church.
Yep.
Okay, Lord, I accept it. Okay, this is what's going on. But you have to be ready. So in order for us to be ready, we do have to find a safe space. We do have to find that place where we do feel safe to be vulnerable in that present time. Because once that happens, you will be able to say, okay, this is really what's happening. And everybody reaches it in different ways, different places. Now, some people have tried to like be very preachy towards me. Well, you know. No, that's not how you get across with me. I'm very, very delicate. I am strong, but I'm a quiet strong. So you have to really be very endearing and nice. Like your tone has to be a certain way. And I feel like that's something that a lot of us still have to work on is our tone and our delivery, because there are people right now will be like, well, I tried to help and I was there to listen. But listen at how you're doing it.
Right.
You're still trying to get the credit for you. So what you're actually doing is taking away from my actual feelings because you want the credit. If it's about me, wouldn't it really be about me facing my fears?
Right. Should be totally about you. But you know what? Sometimes I feel that we as people got lost, or should I say caught up in the fakeness of that fake it till you make it era,
Yes.
that we allowed the veil to consume us or take on what I would say is a persona of its own that somehow got stuck, like it was put on with like Gorilla Glue or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, ouch, I said a word right there. Put on with
Two different people.
Oh, baby, that
Two
Gorilla
different
Glue is
people.
something else. You know that Gorilla Glue is practically hard, or it's dang near impossible
That's right.
to get off. So when you're hiding for years behind the veil, sometimes decades, that pain and those
Yes.
lies become your norm, that you start to believe your own dysfunctional narrative,
That's right.
baby.
That's
baby,
right.
y'all might not know, but I be telling people I might have been meant to be a preacher because, baby,
Okay.
I be having a word for you.
Yes. And we
So,
love it.
you know what?
We
though?
love
the
it.
crazy part about it is, I bet the people are wondering that $1 million question. Well, since you think you know it all, so that $1 million question is that everybody that's out there in listening land is probably wanting to know the answer to is, how do you go about uncovering the layers to release the veil? Well, y'all, I got a few little tips. Now, I know you probably saying, how you gonna give me some advice when you sit there said you ducking and dodging the veil? But see, what I learned in life, people that's going through something, it's often the ones that can give you some good advice. Even though I haven't taken my own advice, I have put in place some steps. Now, really, let me just be honest with you. As I was dealing with myself in this episode, because the episode came about because I met the lovely Aquanet,
Hello.
and she, baby, had said something about, and I said, wait a minute. I started writing, because when things come to me, I get the writing, and that means we're going to have a topic about it. And so I had to deal with myself with this. And I said, you know what, Self, what you going to tell the people what to do? And you haven't done it. That's why I'm very transparent on the I Am Counter Skills podcast. I am very transparent. I may tell you I haven't used these tools yet because I don't want to deal with it yet. But I always am finding ways and solutions to deal with something. So guess what? When I'm ready to deal with it, I just go back in my notes and say, here go your tools, use your tools. So in the process of me tackling this episode, I discovered the importance of why we should get comfortable confronting ourselves.
Yes.
Ooh, baby,
Bring
but
it
I had to
on.
confront it myself. Yeah. I know listeners in like talking about, yeah, I can hear y'all. Even though I really can't hear y'all in my listening land, I know y'all are saying, there she goes. Somebody always trying to get, because I've said it, somebody trying to give advice, but trust me on this, y'all. Please trust me. I would not steer you wrong. I'm for real. I wouldn't steer you in the wrong direction. But to discover your true self, I believe that an important skill that you should possess, you just should always do a self-assessment to know who you are and what you need to be looking for in yourself without giving others the permission to allow them to put their views on you. Does that make sense?
Projection.
Basically, like their projections on you. Get to know yourself is basically what I'm saying. Because it allows you to bypass tons of frustration caused by putting into the wrong things. So that self-reflection is important. You talked about that earlier. It's very important. Yes, life is supposed to be full of, I would say, trials and error. But this lets you find the best areas of your experimenting with yourself. Like you just have to experiment to see those areas in your life, you know, that what works and what doesn't work. And I just think you just need to sometimes, you just need to be quiet. That's a word right there. Sometimes you just need to be quiet and remember to not always stay so busy. Remember when I said I'm always busy? I'm busy so I don't have to deal with stuff. Sometimes you need to just be quiet.
And be still.
Right. Be quiet and be still. And let the Lord guide you sometimes.
And he'll talk to you.
Yes, he sure will. Sometimes you have to, but you have to be ready. Because I know sometimes he talked to me. And like I said, I'm good at doing the Ali. I duck and dodge and weave. Because I don't want to deal with or hear from him yet. And I know somebody's saying, why would she not want to hear from the Lord? Y'all be honest. We're going to stop playing like sometimes we don't want to hear the truth. Let's just keep it real. So, like I was saying, you just have to come face to face with your life. Like the good, the bad. So, like I said, just be quiet sometimes so you can discover your true self. And then you realize who you truly are, not who you want to be.
Or who people think you should be. I used to go through that a lot. Who people thought I should be instead of really knowing basically, well, what do you like, Aquanet? What do you not like, Aquanet? I couldn't answer that. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Kiana.
Because see, I believe that when you know who you are, you finally see where you and your specific gifts fit into the bigger picture of your life.
Come on now. Come on. Yeah.
See, sometimes you got to, that's why I talk about that self-awareness, that self-reflection. You know, it's just, and although there are many points along your journey to help you discover yourself, the best way to begin is to take that personality test.
Yeah.
I did find over the years self-assessment tests, and you can Google those. You can find you some self-assessment tests. Try taking one of those because they will help you to discover who you are. They'll help you kind of pinpoint your top areas of your strengths.
Yes.
And it could probably help you to be the change that the world needs because now you're living your authentic self. Now there's one that's very popular that I hear people talking about. I believe it's called the Myers-Briggs assessment.
Yes, that's it.
And I think that's a very good one that'll help you with your, if I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to help you with your strengths and your weaknesses. So that's something you would probably want to look into. Have you ever taken a test or I should say an assessment? It's not really a test because there's no right or wrong answers because it's dealing with you. Have you ever?
I have definitely done that. And one that I would actually recommend, I don't remember the title completely, but there's one that has to do with colors. So I think back in the day we used to call it your true colors, but they actually have one, a more modified one for today's society. So you're either a red personality, and this is your dominant personality. This is the personality that people see when they first meet you. You're either a red, a yellow, a blue, or a green. So whenever you're those colors, it's easy for you to actually know how you are perceived by other people. So that's another one.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to say one time working in corporate America, I took some, when you said colors, I was like, I wanted to say I took something because I remember being either green or yellow, but I don't remember. Like, I just remember, yeah, that was so long ago. But I want to say I took something and that each color represented a certain, oh my goodness, I can't think. My mind just went blank out. Yes, it's true. That happens. My mind goes blank sometimes. But it represented what type of person you were, what your qualities and your strengths were.
Your qualities, your strengths, and how you process things and how you deliver things to other people. So I know for myself, and you can do it for business or for outside of business. So for myself, when it comes to business, I'm what people call a blue. I'm very structured. I'm very organized, but I still remain calm under like pressure. So, but I'm always the person that people can go to just to bounce ideas off of because I'm coming from a more objective perspective. Now, in my personal life, people will see me more as a yellow. Oh, well, she likes to have fun. She's very bubbly. She's very, what's the word I'm looking for? You can always count on her to be able to get along with everybody. So that's usually a yellow. And, different people have different colors, and that's something that I just feel like it really helps, not just in the business world, but also in your personal life as well. So we actually revisited this with the job that I have, and it's so funny because right after the team building experience, whenever we had a disagreement, we said, oh, that's because they're red, or that's because they're a blue, or that's because they're green. So, you can still make light of it, but it's just another tool just to help, navigate through life altogether.
You just said something that made me want to ask this question. So when you said, oh, that's just because they're red, they're this, they're that. But how long should we just keep saying that? That's just Kiana. That's just the way that she is or he is or whatever. At what point in life do you just pull somebody to the side and check them on their behavior?
Well, I think that it's something that just depends on where you are. Of course, you know, time and place is always key. But if there's a moment where it's just tugging at you, you know what, let me just talk to this person one-on-one. They can either receive it or not receive it. But you have to go into it like that. You can't go into it thinking, well, yeah, I got to tell them, because if they don't know, you know, you can't go into it with a form of anxiety and expectation that they are going to receive it or receive where it's coming from, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming from a bad place. It's just an awareness. And you will run into people that really don't care about awareness at all. But that's something that we have to know to expect when we're approaching somebody.
Yeah, you said something right there. And I was going to say that the awareness, because we talked about me not want to remove certain part of my veil. Maybe that's the part of their veil they just don't want to remove. So you do really have to meet people where they are. But I do think once you have, or at least initiate the conversation, it's always good. Because I know I use the word check a lot, to check somebody. But, you know, I don't just go in and rolling my neck and all that. I just really do be professional about it. Because sometimes it's like maybe they really don't know.
This is true. This is true.
And I find that a lot, that it's just like, hey, I'm a communicator.
Yes.
I just really like to communicate with people and, you know, just kind of let them know that, hey, just want to know, is everything good with you? I try to be, you know, real nice. And then I get into the meat and potatoes and be like, you know how you acted the other day. Is everything, I just want to make sure you good. Let me point out, but I'm going to give you the scenario. And just say, you know, how you acted in this situation. You snapped on X, Y, and Z person. And I just want to make sure you're good, because you've been doing that a lot lately.
And that's out of your character.
Yes.
If you know if it's out of the person's character, then yes, by all means, you're coming to them out of love and concern. So yeah, I do feel like those are things that you have to pay attention to as well.
Now, what if it's not really out of their character? They just been acting like that all their life and you sick of it?
Well,
because I just want to just snatch them veils off people sometimes, be like, you too grown for this. But I know, sometimes I know I go there. I just be wanting to snatch veils off, but it's not my place. Let me go back and let me be real right now. It's not my place to snatch anybody's veil off. It is my place and my mission in life to motivate and to inspire, to help you to remove the veil. That's all I can do. And then I can pray for you.
To those that want to receive it.
That want to receive it.
That's the key. Yeah.
But you know, even if you don't want to receive it, it's still my mission. Because I'm still, even though I can feel like she ain't going to receive it, she ain't in it, but I'm going to still make it my mission to put it out there. So
that's
maybe
your purpose.
One day you'll go back, like I said, I gave you the tools.
This is right.
So like I said, I got these tools, right?
Yeah.
Now I haven't used them, but I have those tools because I'm going to go back one day when I'm ready to self-reflect on the grief and my new reality of taking care of these, my aunt and my uncle that is, you know, have some illnesses that I am becoming, me and my siblings are becoming the caregivers too, because they don't have any kids. And it's just my new reality and it's a lot. But guess what? I'm going to go sit in the quiet time, but right now I've been running. I don't know why I keep referencing Ali, because in my head I just keep seeing me bobbing and weaving. I know y'all gonna get tired of that reference in this episode, but that's lately has been resonating with me because I've been bobbing and weaving a lot lately. I've been all over the place trying to avoid what's going on, because I got some news yesterday and baby, my homegirl Keita called and I said, I thought you was still busy doing what you do. What you doing? We got to go. I can't sit in this house so long, because guess what? I was in quiet time and it was, that veil was trying to lift.
Isn't that what
but
I
I
said?
kept saying, give me some Gorilla Glue. I kept looking for some glue to keep trying to put it back down.
Yeah,
then I said, I feel a tree. That when that tree references that storm, it was trying to lift it up too. And I said, I'm finna get out there. And that's what I did. I went out the house and guess what? I didn't deal with it because I left and stayed out late. And so when I stayed out late, by the time I got home, I had to make sure I had everything ready and my session for today, you know, this podcast episode. So guess what? I didn't have to deal with it.
You've gotten good at deflecting.
Oh, deflecting.
Yeah,
that's the
you've
word.
Gotten very good at deflecting.
Come on, deflecting. Baby, that's the word right there, because baby, I'm good at it.
Yeah. Deflecting is definitely something that we as a community have practiced and have learned, not just from our own environment, just actually through the years. I actually like to think of it as kind of a generational curse. Ooh. And we can save that one for another episode. However, that is something that is definitely, those are things we have to work on, and we have to be able to pause in that moment and be, okay, Aquanette, are you deflecting right now? And I do talk to myself. I don't care what anybody says.
I talk to myself.
I talk to
myself. The whole team meeting on it. Baby show will be like, who you talking to? If the walls in my house could talk, they'll say, baby, they know all the rundown, all the tea.
That's right. That's right. But that's definitely something that another point that we do have to work on. But there is one thing I do want to share. I just want us as a community, women, African American women, just all of us, we have to give ourselves grace as well. We are not perfect. We are always going to be struggling with something. But like you said, Kiana, if somebody's bringing it to you, then it must be something that needs to be addressed. Because anybody that knows you know that you're not coming from a place of malice or manipulation. So those are things that we have to do. We have to give ourselves grace and know that, again, whatever the situation is at that time, if the veil is being removed right now, then this is something that we will have to address at some point. But again, it's whenever you're ready.
Yep.
Absolutely, whenever you're ready.
It does have to be when you're ready. But like I said, even if you're not ready, then you can always write down some tools. There's nothing wrong with taking notes, and then you go back, just like at church. Sometimes them sermons are not about you, but you sit in church and you take those notes, right? Because when you come to that realization that, hey, pastor talked about that, or bishop or whoever spoke about that particular thing, now I'm in that storm. It's my turn. Then you know where to go to in the word to go back and to get through it. So that's all that I'm encouraging today. Like, just truly, just take the time so you can reflect on yourself. I just want everybody to be great. That is really my mission in life, is to just really, for people to be their true, authentic selves, including myself. I'm still working on it, but I just want to be an asset to society and not a liability. Yes, basically.
Amen.
You got any closing things you want to say?
Just to make sure that you have the self-awareness, that you give yourself the quiet time to have that self-reflection time, and to also give yourself grace. I mean, we can only do what we've been taught and build from there.
Right. Hey, thank you again, Aquanette, for being my co-host.
Thank you. So glad to have me.
On the I Am Kiana Scales podcast. And before we get out of here, I want to do a little real talk. This is our new segment, and I'm just going to drop some gems on you each episode. And today, that gem is: the world feels like a dull masquerade. Everybody you meet is wearing a mask. Only a few are brave enough to reveal their true identities. Question that needs answers. Will you be brave enough to reveal the real you? I want you all to think about that in the days and the weeks to come. That's just some food for thought. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the I Am Kiana Scales YouTube and Spotify platforms, and follow I Am Kiana Scales on IG and TikTok. Also download the Streets 99.3 app. Ladies, are you looking for the hottest fashions and accessories? Well, look no further. The Closet Experience has you covered. The Closet Experience has been delighting women of all ages and sizes since 2009. Visit theclosetexperience.com and save 10% with code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion and budget meet. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion budget meet. Also, we have a new sponsor, Delightful Cakes and Catering. Let me say that again. We have a new sponsor. Yay! I'm excited about Delightful Cakes and Catering. Homemade taste meets elegant simplicity. Be sure to also check them out on Facebook and IG.
At we_R_delightful.
Yes, real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Scales podcast.